You're a big winner who's going to win 2026 franchise growth. I'm guessing that you're all here because you want to grow in 2026, whether you're starting from a zero base or whether you've already got 20 or 30 or whatever you've got in there. We're going to grow next year. For those of you that are new and don't know me, hi, by the way, I'm Stacey Cam, franchise strategist. As you can probably tell, I blooming well love to help franchisors. I help franchisors to grow their networks with the right kind of people so that you guys can have more time, hopefully, eventually, more money, which is obviously the whole point, but most importantly of all, more impact. Because I'm guessing that every single one of you that is a franchisor on this call started your business because you wanted to have an impact on something. A passion drove you. And I'm all about giving you more impact. Yes, the money is important with businesses. With more money, we can have more impact. The time is important because, of course, you want the right work-life balance. You want the right, lifestyle. And if you have more time, you can help more people. But the impact is always key. If you've never come across me before and you've stumbled upon me, I am also Managing Director for Daisy First Aid, where we've got just under 70 franchisees at the moment and still growing. I'm also the host of the Disruptive Franchise Awards and podcast, so feel free to go and have a listen there. And I have worked with, in the last 18 months, over 50 different franchisors to help them do various things in their business. I just love it, absolutely love it. So you're probably here, like I said, to grow. Maybe part of being here is that you've been told continuously, I've heard this a lot this year, that, 2025, it's a tough market right now. It's really hard to grow a franchise right now. Franchise sales are so hard. Confidence is low. People don't want to spend their money. People don't want to leave their jobs. People don't want to invest in themselves. And franchisors are struggling to recruit. I'm not going to say that's not true, because some of you on here will have this as your reality. But I want to tell you that it's not true of everybody. Okay. And I've got lots of different clients that will testify to that. What is particularly difficult about 2025, with what I've seen, is that things have changed a lot. So, a few years ago, put out a Facebook ad, fill your pipeline, fill out the ones that you actually want, and jobs are given. That's not really the landscape anymore. And this is why a lot of people are finding franchise recruitment really, really hard. And it's okay if you're finding it hard. There's some things that we can do. And that's exactly why I've brought you here tonight, so that I can give you some, pointers, really. I won't say fixes, but definitely some pointers to help you out. So we're going to start off, like I said, with the basics. Franchise recruitment, like any other kind of sales process, is a funnel, essentially. Visual representation, here is our funnel. And what we do every day is we get up and we do lots of marketing and lots of advertising and lots of putting our message out there, because you've probably been told you need to be visible. People can't buy your franchise if they don't know it exists. So we're doing lots of this thing here at the top, lots of visibility. I'm here tonight being visible. It's really important. But visibility and marketing is not selling. We have to get them into our funnel. We have to get our claws in, pull them in. And this is where I think a lot of franchisors actually struggle. I laugh, but a lot of franchisors really struggle with the concept of selling, even though they know what they've got is life-changing. Even though they fully believe in what they've got, this kind of icky bit around sales just gets in the way and stops it dead. But we have to bring the leads in. Someone who's watching me on Instagram is not a lead. Okay. A lead is somebody who has engaged with me. A lead is somebody who actually has given me the signals that they want to talk to me, that they want to interact with me, that they want to hear my stuff, that they want to hear from me. And that's the same for you guys as well. So the top of the sales funnel, I don't even count visibility as part of the sales funnel. Top of the sales funnel is once we've actually engaged with somebody and we've created them as a lead. Please remember that leads are people. We get a bit caught in the numbers here, but the numbers are important. Now, according to the BFA recruitment survey earlier this year, the average cost of a lead, now this spans companies with zero budget all the way up to, 5-figure budgets. Probably 6-figure budgets in total. But the average cost of a lead, according to the British Franchise Association, so we'll run with that, is £75 per lead. Per lead. The average number of leads that a franchise generates, according to the BFA benchmark survey, is about 345 per year. We'll run through those numbers in a minute. Once we've got them as a lead, somebody who wants to hear from us, there's an extra step. We've got to qualify them. Because of those 345 leads, actually, only a certain percentage of those people are actually going to want to buy from us, who are actually going to want a franchise. Now, maybe you heard this as a franchisor, like you've gotten really excited. There's a really tasty lead come in and they look perfect and they sound great. And they go, oh, I wanted a job, not a franchise. Off they go into the bin pile. We need to qualify these leads. We need to make sure that actually they're worth bringing through the process, that they're worth nurturing, that they're worth converting. Only about 1.7% of the leads that we brought in through all that amazing marketing are become qualified leads sent. So you can see very quickly, most of us have a volume issue somewhere. Now, then we come through the sales funnel. Maybe we do calls. We've got a nurture sequence in there, hopefully. We're doing follow-ups. We're not leaving that on the table. Maybe we're doing a series of calls with them. Maybe we're giving them the contract to browse through and go and check with the solicitor, all the things that we have to do as franchisors. And what we're driving at the bottom from our total number of leads, on average, is a 1.4% conversion rate to hit the sale. And suddenly, as franchisors, we feel quite flat, because all of those numbers transpire with an average number of sales across the industry of 5 per year average. To gain 5 sales at these conversion rates, we need about 358 leads at a cost of £26,500. Hands up if you've got that in your budget. I can't see you, but I put my mortgage on the fact that you don't all have your hands up right now. So we have to look at things in a different way. We have to be a bit smarter about what we're doing. And by the way, this is just a demonstrated average. Okay. I've been able to do Instagram posts and generate 60 leads off of one post. Okay. So don't let these averages get you down, but please remember how hard we have to work and how much volume has to happen, or how much intention has to happen in order to drive that sale. So if you're feeling a bit like, I've been rubbish, I haven't really got that many, be really proud of whatever you have done, because you've already done more than some. So that grounds us a little bit, doesn't it? For sure. I want to solve some of your real life issues and give you some tips and solutions. Very commonly, franchisors that I'm in conversations with will tell me, well, actually, I've got loads of leads, but they're not converting, or I don't have many leads, but they're converting high, or whatever on this grid. Okay, so I've just mapped it out really clearly for us. I'm a visual person and I like to be able to see stuff. And let's just work through a couple of these segments. So if you have a low volume of leads, then it's going to make this bit really hard. Okay, so we don't have many people coming into our funnel at the start. And if you've also coupled that with a low conversion rate, you're probably sitting there with your head in your hands by the end of this year going, oh, it's too hard. I'm giving up. This isn't for me. Franchise was an error. Blah. And if you've got 0 franchisees at the moment, please don't panic. If you are struggling with low lead, low conversion in this little bottom left-hand quadrant, the things to look at is, are you advertising, not selling? Like I said, we used to be able to just put out a Facebook post. Jobs are good, and you can't do that anymore. So if you're advertising, not selling, maybe you're really good at marketing. Maybe you're sitting there going, Stacey, I've done so many posts, I get really good engagement. Maybe your sales message actually isn't strong enough. Maybe people don't realise, and you'd be surprised how often this happens when I have a look at an audit, maybe people don't realise that you're selling a franchise. So if people don't know that you're selling a franchise opportunity, they can't talk to you. They can't come and buy it. So are you advertising and not selling? Go and have a look at that. That one's on me. Like it's up there as one of the number one problems. Very easy to fix. People just don't realize they're doing it. The next one is wrong messaging. If you're putting out the wrong messaging, maybe you're also not quite hitting the audience, then you can't bring them in as leads because no one's listening. If your messaging is too generic in terms of, hey, come buy my franchise, if that's all you're doing in terms of trying to sell, you're advertising it, come buy my franchise. Who are you talking to? Who do you need to listen? Because they're not. Try and tell to everyone, no one's going to listen. If you've got your messaging on point, then you're bringing the right people in, your conversion goes up. So This is how I can really confidently sit here and say, maybe your messaging's not quite right. It could also just purely be a volume issue. Are you just not there with the volume? So if you're not bringing in the leads and you are having good sales messages, you're actively selling, and you think you've got the right messaging at the right person, but you're still not hitting it, then you're not doing enough volume. People aren't seeing you. And a common error here is that you're talking to the same 500 people on your Instagram account. If you're not growing your audience, if you're not getting outside of your audience, then you're just hammering the same people every day. Okay, unless you're adding hundreds of new LinkedIn followers, if LinkedIn's your channel, like on a regular basis, you are just repeating the same message to the same people, and they fatigue, and that conversion rate just continues to drop. Now, I also know that we have a lot of watchers in franchise. It's a big step. I started all of this as a franchisee, and it was a big leap to go and invest in a franchise. So I know that people watch us for maybe a much longer time than they would jumping into something else. But still, if you're not putting new people in the top of that funnel, your conversion rate's going to just drop and drop and drop. So that's some real honest but clear help. And if you're writing those notes down, those are the areas to go focus on. Maybe you've got loads of leads, but they don't convert to a sale. Now, if you're having loads of conversations with people, if you're getting loads of email addresses, if you're getting loads of people into that nurture sequence that hopefully you've all got, if you haven't, give me a shout, but they're not selling, they're not getting on calls, they're ghosting you, they are doing the call and then being scared off by the contract. These are all really common issues in franchise sales. You've got to go back to square one and look at, are you actually targeting the right kind of person? Because if you've got the wrong ideal franchisee, it's like me going and trying to sell a franchise to my nan. She's not interested. Okay, she's not my market. I might know her market really well. I might be able to talk to her really well, but she's never going to come and invest in my franchise. So are you selling to the wrong person? You would be amazed with a real small tweak in your ideal franchisee, what a huge difference that can make. For example, maybe you're trying to sell to teachers, but actually you should maybe be trying to sell to ex-teachers. That's a really small tweak that I made with one client, and the difference was phenomenal. So check your ideal franchisee is correct. Again, is your messaging right? If you're getting loads of leads and they're all coming in but they're not going anywhere, then your messaging's wrong. Because I'll give you a really good example. Let's say you're using something like Indeed to advertise. I know a lot of franchisors do this. I know I Indeed hate it. Okay. So you're putting your advert out there, you're getting loads of responses to Indeed, but then they hear it's a franchise and they ghost you because they're not expecting to be sold a franchise. They're not coming into this as an investment opportunity. They're looking for a job. So there's a mismatch in what's happening with the messaging versus who's coming in. Another really key reason I think is the most overlooked thing on the board is maybe you're getting an awful lot of the right people and you think your messaging is right, but they're not going anywhere because they don't feel safe. I'm going to come back to this one later. If people don't feel safe enough to make the leap, invest, I've got to remember it's a big leap, then they won't. So are you making it safe? Are you giving them everything that they need to feel able to come and invest in you? So those are the key ones. The happy side of the board, if you like, we've got a really high conversion but a low lead rate. Well, if we don't have enough people coming through the funnel but they convert really highly, that's not actually a major problem, because what we need to do is we need to probably up the lead generation. I've put a pro tip here, look at your pricing. It might be that you've got a pricing mismatch. So if you're getting not that many leads but you get a really high conversion, you might actually be priced too low. And this blows people's minds, but you might just be putting people off because they can't see the value in the investment that they're going to make because it's too low. They might not be able to see how they can possibly get a return on that. So do go look at your pricing there. Feel free to take a picture of this, by the way. Maybe you're in the sweet spot. High conversion, high leads, everyone's happy. Woohoo! If that's where you're at, it's time to increase your visibility, to scale, to go bigger. Don't think small, go bigger. And if time is a blocker here, look at automation. So hopefully that helps some of you in terms of like, I hope there's some light bulbs that have gone off there and gone, oh yeah. Because I think this is quite basic, but this is the stuff that we don't look at. And this is the advantage of having a strategist like I am go, okay, where's the gap? What's causing that gap? How do we plug that gap? This is the strategist's view of real life franchising problems. So now that hopefully I've fixed some low-hanging fruit for you there, I think low-hanging fruit. Maybe it's given you a year's worth of work to do. Who knows? I can't see your faces. I want to give you 5 top tips for 2026 next, because as much as everything on here I've talked through, and some of these are big, some of these are small, some of these are overwhelming, some of these are dead easy to go and do. This is really, like I said, that foundational work that everyone should do regardless. The low-hanging fruit here means that these next 5 tips that I'm going to give you laid on top is gold, because this doesn't matter what market we're in. These are real life solutions to problems that you'll have. My 5 top tips that I think are essential to help you grow your franchise network, your franchise sales for 2026. I've taken a real look at what are the trends in the market, what's happening outside of the franchise market in places like online sales, what is happening in the wider marketing sphere. I'm a proper marketing geek. I love marketing. What's happening outside of our world that we need to filter in to what we are doing. This is what sets everything on fire rather than smouldering in the background. So my first tip is emotional connection. Weird question, because it's at that time of year. This wouldn't work at any other time of year, but the supermarkets are all in this battle at the moment to have the best Christmas advert. And this record, the picture of the record here, Where Love Lives. If you're of a certain generation, if you're a millennial like I am, you probably hear that Alison Limerick voice in your head, nice and loud and clear, just from seeing this, to be honest with you. John Lewis invested a huge amount of money and man hours, because they work on this for about, I think they start working on this in like July time. The concepts, the art directors, all of the stuff that goes in for like a 30-second advert, the documentary that they make behind it. You know, there's such a huge production piece in things like the John Lewis ads. A couple of years ago, it was Lily Allen and the cartoon bear and you know, the animated bear, not like Winnie the Pooh. We had Kevin the Carrot one year. You know, all of these things are nothing to do with what those supermarkets actually sell. Because what does John Lewis actually sell? Jumpers? Jeans? Shoes? Don't know. I couldn't tell you the last time I was in a John Lewis. But, you know, they sell a huge array of things that people will go and gift, obviously. That's the angle. But when they run their adverts for Christmas, this hugely emotive time, because there's such high competition at this time of year, everyone wants that Christmas pound spent with them. They're not selling what they sell. They're selling the emotions behind the gifts. Okay, if you've seen the John Lewis Christmas ad this year, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go and Google it afterwards. Go and have a look on YouTube. Hopefully there's no spoilers here. But a dad gets a present from under the tree. It kind of looks like it's been left behind. There's a sulky kind of older teenage kind of situation going on, and the present's to dad, and he unwraps the present and it's this record. The nostalgia factor is blimmin' awesome. Absolutely awesome. But John Lewis aren't saying we sell records. They're saying this is the emotional connection. This is the feelings, all the feelings behind what we do. And how does that then apply to franchising? Well, when we're trying to sell franchises, people won't remember what you say. You won't remember half of what I've said tonight. If I did a pop quiz at the end, you're all going to fail it, and that's okay. You will remember how you felt. You'll remember when I showed you that grid a second ago, which thing prickled your skin and went, oh, I need to do that. You'll remember, probably be talking about John Lewis now above all else, which is fine. You'll remember how you felt. When you walked into that house that you bought, if you bought a house or if you rented a flat, you remember the feeling of when you walked in. And we have to start to do that better in franchising. We really do, because we're trying to get people to make a huge change in their life. We're trying to bring on board new business partners. We're trying to get them to invest in something that is truly life-changing for them. So we have to give them all those feels. We have to kind of be John Lewis a little bit. And there's been a huge shift. So a couple of years ago, I'm not a massive fan of this, but a couple of years ago, there was a big trend in franchising that you kind of had your main franchise social media accounts, and that was for all and everything. You know, your end user, you talked about your classes that your franchisees do, everything. And what a lot of franchisors did was they separated off the franchise bit. So they had a separate franchise account or a separate franchise website. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but what got lost in there actually was the emotional connection. Because if you're trying to sell people your franchise, they need to see what they're buying. They need to feel what they're buying. They need to see the happy kids' faces if it's a kids one. They have to see the transformation that they're going to get and the journey that they're going to come on with you. Instead of just being told, hey, come buy my franchise, it'll change your life. It's not enough. So now what we actually now need to do, I think this is super important as franchisors, is we have to really harness what's happening online. And in online, there is a huge, and has been really since the beginning of this year, it's going to be much bigger next year because of AI. We have to really harness the ability to create ourselves as a personal brand. The franchisor has to be able to show them as a personal brand. You know, what do they do socially? And I'm not saying share pictures of your dinner, bore everybody with your hobbies, you know, millions of pictures of your kids. It's about being able to demonstrate what values you have as a person. What is your passion? What motivates you? How do you connect with that ideal franchisee? What do you have in common? You both hate it when somebody doesn't say thank you when they cross the road. Talk about that. You know, like we have to be able to use personal brand effectively as franchisors to grow authenticity, to influence, and to really genuinely build know, like, trust. And as your potential franchisees get younger into Gen Z, this becomes even more important because Gen Z see through all the fake crap. They want real connection. They want connection with you because you are who they're investing in. You are their business partner. You're going to be their mentor. So we have to build that emotional connection in everything that we do. That's a big one. And this leads on. You'll see a theme here across all 5. Feelings, not features. Show of hands. I can't see. I won't judge you. Show of hands who sells their franchise based on allowing someone to have a work-life balance. Keep your hand up if you've ever said that your franchise offers flexible working. Now, again, I can't see you, but I'm willing to bet the mortgage that actually most of you have got your hand up there. It's not enough anymore. We've moved on from that. You have to move on from that. You're selling features. If you've ever said franchise fee is £10,000, it comes with all the equipment you'll need. That's a feature. That's not enough to make somebody buy. I can go and start independently and buy my own equipment. That's not enough. What we have to do is we have to be telling people how we solve their problems. You know, so if you come and buy my franchise, I'm going to transform your life. You're not going to miss sports day ever again. You're going to be there for the Christmas nativity play. You're going to get to see their faces as they come on stage and look for you in the crowd. I've given myself goosebumps. It's going to sell much better and be much more relatable than, well, you can have a flexible work life. You can work when you want. Because we're also competing with a changed workforce. Okay, since, the horrible COVID, changes, people expect to have a work-life balance. We expect that we're going to be able to do certain things. So we have to stop trying to sell based on those things that people actually just expect anyway. We have to be better. We have to do better. We have to make them feel better. How will being a franchisee make them feel? And you have to really, truly understand who your ideal franchisee is to be able to hook those emotional strings here. And I'm not talking about NLP or, trying to hypnotize people through your sales. I'm talking about do this authentically and do this ethically, but do it better than anyone else in your market. And you're going to win because the people who really resonate with you, they're going to buy into you. It's going to become a no-brainer based on how you've made them feel in the process, rather than, I'm not going to turn up to that call because I'm not invested. Okay. Actually, if they feel like they know you, if they feel warmer about, who they're going to get on that call with, and I'm saying you as a franchisor, equally, it might be a franchise manager. Okay. If they feel connected to that person already, far less likely to ghost them. We're going to get on more sales calls. We're going to drive that conversion up. Profit follows purpose. A really huge shift that's happening in online sales at the moment is people are a little bit fed up with go make loads of money. Passive income, go do your thing, recurring revenue, have 10K months, have 6-figure businesses. We are all sick to death of it. We are. Yeah, we'd love it, but we're sick of it. It doesn't mean anything. And if you're saying to a franchisee, "Oh, come and have this big," unless you can back it up and show them the feelings, like I've said, it doesn't mean anything to them. And so rather than trying to chase the sales, which I think I'm quite blessed in terms of my experience in the franchise industry, because a lot of the franchisors that I work with are really focused on this anyway. But we have a human tendency to chase the money. I need the money. Okay, I need 3 more franchisees so I can bring in a support manager. That's valid. That's a really important kind of way to set a goal. But I need to add 10K to my bank account. It doesn't drive you enough because it's just money. And I say just money. I know that's a lot of money, but it's not enough to make you get out of bed every morning and disconnect to how you feel like, I don't feel like doing it, and make you do the things. You have to find your purpose. You have to remember your purpose. Every one of you, I looked down the Masterclass list that had registered. You all started your businesses to have a bigger impact. You've come into franchising to extend that impact. So follow the purpose. Be in the pursuit. Take people with you. Talk about why. Yeah, I talk a lot at the moment about bringing young people into franchising. It's a purpose, it's a pursuit, it's a journey. It's something I feel genuinely really passionate and excited about. And it draws people to me that have that same passion. And that's exactly what you need to be doing as a franchisor when you're thinking about your content, when you're thinking about all the things that you put out there. Focus on your purpose and sharing the impact that your franchisee is also going to be attracted to. That's how you'll push the conversion up on that quadrant, because you'll be bringing people that are more naturally drawn to you and what you're trying to do. And you don't have to be trying to solve world hunger. Maybe you just really want every child to have access to art. Maybe you want every single child to be able to dance, or just have an hour a week where they can do the thing. Maybe you want to bring somebody in so that they can go and help other people do something else. Don't lose sight of that purpose, because that's how you have the bigger impact on what you're doing longer term, but it's also how you're going to drive more people to find you, because you're more likely to go and get some press about something that you feel passionately about, rather than like, oh, I need to go and get in some press because I need to sell more franchises. It's going to just give you a whole different approach to your own motivation, which is super exciting. And then this really brings me nicely onto this: selling, not advertising. If you are talking about something that you are lit up about and you're bringing people into you, make sure that you're selling to them as well. Social media is not a sales process. We know that. You know that. You know social media is not a sales process in itself. It's the bit before. It's that top of the funnel bit before we bring them in. So alongside going out and creating content, and however you choose to do that, or whatever ways you choose to get in front of people, you also have to be doing specific, intentional lead generation activity. I mentioned while I was talking about the funnel that one Instagram post that we did for Daisy First Aid. It brought in over 60 leads. Incredible. Just one. But it was a lead generation specific post. We didn't just get lucky because somebody liked something that we did. It was very specifically asking for people with certain characteristics. In this case, it was mums on maternity leave that didn't want to go back, that were dreading going back, to get in contact. And oh my word, they did. They really did. And we got calls put from it, and we've still got people in the sales process as a result of it. but it was an intentional lead generation activity. It didn't happen off the back of, hey, come buy my franchise, or hey, I'm doing this wonderful thing. We're saving lives in Daisy First Aid, but we still have to sell the fact that they can buy a franchise. So don't forget to actually sell, not just passively put your message out there. We have to do this because it's a crowded marketplace. And no, you're not online businesses, but you are operating in an online space. So you have to act like an online business, an online sales channel. The BFA survey also really highlighted that one of the growing channels for sales is lead generation. It's really important. And that also encompasses personal outreach. And we get a bit scared to go and message people and say, hey, I saw you like my thing. Do you want to chat? But, we're kind of a bit past the times where we'll just sit there and twiddle our thumbs and hope that they come to us. They won't, because life's moving too quickly. They're on to the next thing. And the people that are going to go get those sales are the ones that are going out there chasing it. We have to just leave aside now that actually we don't like selling. We kind of got to get over it because you've chosen to be a business owner. And that's that. It's just big girl pants time or big guy pants time, We have to be able to be confident in going out there and doing personal outreach. And here's a reframe for you. If you went and paid to be at an exhibition, let's say you go to a franchise exhibition and you buy a stand and you pay X £1,000 for the stand, you're going to make sure you spend all day going and giving leaflets and talking to as many people as you can because you've paid to be there. Well, guess what? You can do that for free on social media. I'm just going to leave that hang there. And you also have to make sure that you've got follow-up processes. If you are not following up, you're leaving money on the table. It's that simple. Somebody ghosted you. That's really sad. Go and get them. Go and re-engage with them. Go and keep going until they say, actually, I'm not interested. And if that gives you the ick, I'm sorry. But we got to do it. I did it this week. Messaged a whole load of people that have been on our list for a while for Daisy. Actually, I didn't want to buy a franchise. No, it's not the right time. That's fine. No's aren't personal. We have to go and do the follow-up. Again, this is not an optional thing anymore. This won't even put you ahead anymore. This is just to stay in the game. So selling, not advertising, please. It's going to make a huge difference to your business. And my final point here, my final one of the 5, is make it safe. I referenced this earlier when I said if you've got low conversion, high leads, maybe it's not safe enough for them to buy. And here's the thing. We don't think about this as franchisors because maybe you've never been a franchisee. Maybe you don't know what it's like to invest in a franchise, but I do. You have to feel safe. For all of those market things that we're saying, people don't feel safe, the economy, blah, blah, blah. If you make it feel safe and right for somebody, the right person with the right ethics, then if you feel safe, you'll get those conversions if it's right for them. So you need to make it feel safe for potential franchisees to leave their current situation. We hate being in pain. We hate, maybe we've got a job that we hate and a boss that's driving us crazy and we don't like all the red tape and it's making us ill. But we are creatures of habit. We will stay there because it's safe, because that income is regular, because we're dependent on it, because we don't know any better. And so you have to show them that it can be better. You have to show them that actually it is safe. I think a big reason where we stumble with this in franchising is because as franchisors, we don't want to be responsible. We feel responsible enough. We don't want to be telling them, leave your job, it'll be fine. But there are loads of different ways that you can make it feel safer. And then the final decision is with the franchisee. I'm not talking about doing, any horrible tactics, but use things like storytelling. Tell them your journey. Tell them about your franchisees if you have franchisees. Tell them about what happened when Mary hated teaching, left her job and bought a franchise. Tell them about what Sue did when she had no experience running a business before, but this is how she made it work. Give them stories because we remember how we feel from a story. Oh, she sounds like me. So don't make stories up, by the way. Do it. Highlight the cost of staying where they are. You're on long-term sick leave because your safe job is making you ill. That's a cost. Highlight the cost of staying where they are. You hate your job. You get a headache every Monday morning. You've got the Sunday dread. Highlight that cost of where they are because it will always feel better for them to stay where they are than take the leap. We have to show them that the grass can be greener. Give them case studies if you can. If you're comfortable using financials, do. The biggest thing that franchise industry misses is using financials in their marketing because we don't want to promise. We can caveat that. Listen to what they actually want. Know who your ideal franchisee is. Maybe they don't care that they can make £10,000 a month. Maybe they don't care that they can flexibly work. What is it that's going to drive them? What are they looking for? And how does your buying your franchise actually match up with what they want? How can you very clearly show them and model it to them? And like I said, talk about the financials. But the number one thing that I see when I work with franchisors that has to change for 2026 is you have to believe what you're telling them. There's no point in, if you can see me on the screen, saying, yeah, it's life-changing. Yeah, no, you buy the franchise, it's life-changing. No one's going to believe that. It's a life-changing opportunity because of this. They'll read your energy. You have to believe what you're telling them. And if you don't believe in what you're telling them, then maybe it's back to the drawing board in terms of what will help you believe. There's no point in trying to sell a franchise that you don't believe in for various reasons. There's no point saying you're going to make XYZ if you don't believe they can. So just have a little sense check. Do you need to go back and prove anything to yourself? Do you have to go back, particularly if you've been selling franchises for a while, just to go back a couple of steps and just remember why you believe in it? Because if you don't show up absolutely brimming with this passion for what you're doing, people see that and they run from it because it's a red flag. They're like, oh, hang on a minute. There's no conviction. Then there's not going to be any conversion either. So I hope those 5 things make sense. The theme through all of them really is personal connection, making people feel safe and comfortable, making sure that you're following your passions and talking about it. These aren't rocket science. None of it is. But where we fall short in this is not keeping up with the trends. Like I say, flexible work life. That's not going to do it. Also, the accountability for doing it. Make a commitment. Which one are you going to practice for the next 3 weeks? Which thing are you going to take on board? Make a commitment to being better, to improving, because it will improve your outcomes dramatically. Hopefully you got some real good value for that. If you're like me, you're a note taker and you're scribbling everything down furiously, you can always come back and watch the recording. That's okay. I said at the start that I'm going to tell you how I can help you. I've got something very exciting to share with you. But before I do, I'm covering her face. Nick, if you're on here, apologies for covering your face. Just going to move my face down. Before we're on here, before I go on and talk about my new thing, and then I'll answer questions and we'll pick a winner. I just wanted to introduce you to Nicola. Nicola might be on here tonight. I work one-to-one with an awful lot of franchisors and I see the common themes. And this is a lot where I've pulled out tonight of like things that commonly people were struggling with and things that can make a big impact. I worked one-to-one with Nick for 6 months. She was a fairly new franchisor. She had a potential franchisee, but there was something that just was a bit off. We re-looked at everything. We looked at the ideal franchisee. We looked at the messaging. We looked at the visibility strategy. And actually that initial franchisee that she had wasn't quite the right fit. So actually it was a scary decision for Nick, I'm sure. But my advice was, let's just start again. And we did. And within 6 months, she'd sold 3 franchises. She's now got a pipeline ready for the new year, which is amazing. But the reason I wanted to introduce you to Nick was that what she really demonstrated very clearly in her testimonial was that your successes as franchisors, they mean the world to me. So she said here, your successes mean just as much to her as they do to you. And to have that energy on the other end of the phone is priceless. I just loved that. So I really wanted to show you Nick and get you to meet her. She's franchisor of Snap Happy Babies, which is an incredible franchise. But she's dead right. Like anytime any of my clients or even my ex-clients, my previous clients get a franchisee and they let me know, I'm jumping up and down celebrating with you because I just really love that other people can take the advice, use it and succeed with it. But it's not easy. And the biggest thing there is the accountability. Having somebody at the end of the phone to be able to be like, this happened, or yay, it makes the world of difference. Because as franchisors, you're largely on your own. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's a hard place to be, to have that motivation, to be ghosted and pick yourself up, to, turn up with the right kind of energy, to remind yourself these things that we've talked about tonight. You can get lost very, very easily. Plus, an awful lot of you are still delivering your, end product, your franchisees yourself. So Nick is a great example. Feel free to go and chat with Nick if you are interested in working with me in any capacity and want the inside track. So that's Nick. I'm super excited to introduce to you guys my new 360 Franchise Growth Accelerator. So for 2026, largely I'm not going to be doing one-to-one client work anymore. And instead, what I'm going to do is build a cohort of like-minded franchisors who are committed to growing. So if this is you, listen up. Okay, it's a 6-month exclusive support to turn strategy, which is the foundation of this, into growth, so that you walk away with more franchisees. This is unlike any other program for a few reasons. When you come on board, you get an onboarding call with me, and I'm going to audit your franchise. This is not a generic program where you do a course and you pop out at the end of it and hope that it worked. We're going to ensure that anyone in this accelerator is successful. Not just because of all the things I've just said that's going to go into it, but because I am as invested in your franchise as you are, because I want to see you do well. So we're going to do an audit. From that, you'll get a roadmap in terms of what you need to be doing, what areas you need to focus on. This is not a beginner level, okay? So one of the criteria for entry of this is you must already have 5 franchisees. If you don't, I'll talk about another option for you later, but we're looking for people in here that are of a similar level. We're not going to cover the basics here. We're just going to absolutely go for growth with the right kind of franchisee. Super important. It includes an in-person strategy day in January so that we can get the strategy laid out right. As I said, you'll get your own roadmap for what you need to be doing inside the program. One of the things that I really wanted to put in here was the strategist certification. So when you enroll in this, you will also go through inside the accelerator, not separately, a certified business strategist course. It's CPD certified, so you will leave the accelerator as a certified business strategist. You don't have to take the exam. There is an exam at the end and a case study. But if you take that exam and that case study, you will then be certified. This program is £2,000 on its own. But the reason I put it in here and the reason it's so important is because as franchisors, a lot of you have come into this with no previous business experience other than getting started from that passion. And I really believe that anyone who comes into a program with me should leave better skilled. I want to set you up for the future. So you will come out of this with that same strategic view of your own business where you can pull back and spot the gaps in your business. But most importantly, in terms of that long-term impact, you'll be able to do it for your franchisees. And you'll be able to say to them, I'm a certified business strategist, so you have to listen to me, rather than I'm your franchisor. So worth it, that program. It's a program that I've done myself. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And the impact it's going to have on your overall franchise is just mega. Really is. I know another reason that franchise growth is hard is mindset. And again, I'm a huge believer in making sure that we address all of the issues. So we're going to have group monthly mindset calls. These calls are going to bring out blocks that you didn't even know you had. We're going to look at growth, visibility, victim mindset, because that's a big one for franchisors, and money mindset as well. So super excited about that one. And again, it's not like any other program because you get 5 hours of one-to-one with me. Now, hopefully by this point, you trust that I know what I'm doing here. 5 hours of one-to-one with me, you can use them how you like. Maybe you want an element of done for you. Maybe you want to have a monthly meeting. Maybe you want to blast something in particular. They're yours. And again, we'll sit down and we'll figure out what is the best use for you within those hours. And I've also included in there a program called Let's Get Launched. A lot of you will be at a point where you want to be more efficient in your business. So Let's Get Launched will teach you how to put together a launch program to do cohort recruitment, which is a big step for some of you in here. There's a success suite to make things like social media and visibility easier. Huge amount of value in there, lots of prompts, different ideas, different trainings. Throughout all of this as well, we're going to look at it from a lens of efficiency. So things like how can you be using ChatGPT and other AI programs to help you to be more efficient, to help you generate the ideas, to help you give your franchisees better onboarding, things like that. There's so much that we can do in here. I'm so excited. And of course, we'll also have community support. This is the first time we run this. In terms of cohort, this isn't going to be huge. We're not going to have hundreds of people on this. We have a absolute maximum of 10 spaces. I'm envisaging probably about 5 people on this, if I'm honest with you, but we can go up to 10. No more than that because I want to be really inside your businesses with you. If you want more full details, then you can use the Scan Me link. I will also send the links after. The total value of this package is just over £7,000, which is incredible. Now, in terms of tonight, I promised you guys a special offer. I don't do Black Fridays, so this is big. Special offer, one time only, to join the 360 Franchise Growth Accelerator. I'm offering you guys a 10% discount if you sign up by the 1st of December. So you've got a couple of weeks to think about this. I don't want anyone to feel pressured and rushed, but you've got until the 1st of December to get that discount. So it brings it down from a cohort price of 4,000. Bearing in mind the value of that, what I've just shown you is 7. The price to pay will be £3,600. 10% discount, that's with the 10% discount applied. You can either pay in full, you can pay across 6 months, or you can pay across 10 months. Now it's November, we're all coming up to Christmas, and I fully appreciate that. This program's not going to start until January. So I'm offering you, again, until the 1st of December, you can secure your place with £100 deposit. That's all you need to pay until December. And then if you want to start a payment plan in January, we can start that for you. That's fine. And the other really special thing here is I've also added, that also includes your certification. There's no additional costs for your exams or certification or anything like that. I've also included in here a return on investment guarantee. If you haven't made your investment back, your 3,600 in this case, by the end of the 6 months, then you get to stay in again for the next cohort, so that you absolutely will make your money back on this. This will be a long-term investment because you'll get value way beyond that 6 months, but I want you to make that money back while we're there. I want to celebrate with you, let's face it. There are some terms and conditions. You have to prove that you've done the work and not just sat and done nothing, but I can give you more details on that if you want to. So if that works for you, if you've got more than 5 franchisees, if you're really serious, I want people who are serious about growing. I'm going to really commit myself to this. So I'm expecting a commitment in return. This is not, I fancy it, I'll get started, I won't do it. I know life happens, I get that too. But I just really want to be all in with the people in this program and really deliver something very, very special. So that's all there. We'll email out the details afterwards if it's for you. If you've got questions on this, then I'll do Q&A in a sec. Part of that day, as I said, is an in-person day in January. Screen's not working. There we go. Franchise Strategy Day is included in the accelerator. But if you're not at 5 franchisees yet, or you're not quite ready for that level of commitment, then you can also separately book the Franchise Strategy Day. It's £197 per person. These are all the things that we're going to be doing on the screen. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be in London. It's going to be at Aldgate East. We're going to have a lovely lunch, and we're going to really just nail your strategy for 2026 franchise growth. I've also thrown in there a 4-month membership bonus worth £180 for you to join my 360 Franchise Academy membership, which has got a full program of support behind it as well.